Michigan defensive tackle Kenneth Grant has the potential to become one of the elite defensive tackles in the NFL. A scout told me that because of the fact this guy is 6'5", 340 plus pounds, he can absolutely bully people and absolutely hold his own. He can push people back 2, 3, 4 yards into the backfield. As you see on this one, he does a really good job against the guard. He's going to hold his ground, even push this guy back 1 to 2 yards. But more than that, this guy also has the quickness that you don't generally see at that size. And there's multiple plays like this one here on tape where he's going to just go right over the top. He's going to apply pass rush technique to the run game. He's going to penetrate the backside A-gap, and he's going to force the running back to bounce this even further than he may have wanted to. And today we're going to get into a lot of these different types of plays with Kenneth Grant. This guy has elite potential, elite upside, and he may be the best defensive tackle prospect in the 2025 NFL draft. I'd be shocked to not see this guy go in the first round. This defensive tackle class is kind of interesting because I think a lot of different people have a lot of different defensive tackles as the #1 guy in this class. There's really not like a true Jalen Carter or a true Devontae Wyatt or Christian Barmore kind of coming out. And Kenneth Grant's definitely one of the guys up there that I think has a ton of upside. And I'm excited to kind of just get into the tape. So one of the things you're going to see a lot with this guy is just the quickness and the pass rush technique, specifically in the run game. On this one here, he does jump the backside A-gap. The center has a reach block, and he's going to go over the top. Left hand's going to swipe. Right hand's going to come over the top. And if you keep an eye on the center, you can see the center misses the block. Right, the center ends up kind of leaning forward. He falls off of it. And Kenneth Grant's going to basically penetrate the backside A-gap. Think about this play here from the running back's perspective. The running back's going to get the ball here, and he's trying to figure out which gap to essentially hit. Right, maybe he wants to bend it back over here towards the left, but the fact that Kenneth Grant is basically in the backfield, the running back is not going to be able to hit this back in towards the left, so he has to push this out towards the right. So again, Kenneth Grant might not make the play on this play specifically, but he does do a good job penetrating and changing the outcome of this play, and he does this a lot. You see it on tape over and over and over again where this guy just uses that quickness to beat the guys in front of him. You're going to get a power run here by USC, and Kenneth Grant's going to go right over the top of the left guard who has a down block. And once again, he's going to force this running back to basically have to go to the outside. So again, just a really, really good job by Kenneth Grant. And they're going to end up losing about 2.5 yards. This isn't a safety technically. They end up getting the ball at like the half-yard line. But notice how quickly Kenneth Grant recognizes this play. The center is going to end up stepping in front of Kenneth Grant here. And he recognizes that means it's going to be a power run over here towards the left, which also means you're going to get a down block essentially coming right at you. So with all that being stated, the guy's going to recognize, read it, and then you're going to see him apply that pass rush technique, right? He's going to get skinny as well. He's going to change direction, right? He's going to go right into the guard. And then as he goes into the guard, he's going to jump towards his left. As he jumps to the left, his left hand lands, right arm comes over the top. He gets skinny. He gets over the top. And as soon as he defeats this block, the running back has really nowhere to go, especially given the edge player here is going to set the edge pretty well. It's just a really nice job by those two guys to be able to stop this play from picking up any more yards than it needs to. Again, Kenneth Grant does this a lot, where he basically is going to swim over the top of guys. And it's a part of what makes Kenneth Grant an elite prospect. Again, the size combined with the ability to make himself skinny, to change direction, to get over the top of guys is really impressive. Now we're going to get into the pass rush. We're going to get into the power as well. Keep in mind, I really wanted to show you guys the quickness that this guy plays with because, you have to have counters as a defensive lineman. Right, on one play, you got to come in with power. You got to bull rush. But then on the next play, you got to be able to go over the top of guys because they expect you to kind of utilize your power. This guard here that Kenneth Grant's going to be going up against here expects to lean into him. He expects that Grant's going to essentially try to utilize some sort of power. It makes the guard kind of lean forward, right? He's going to lunge forward. He's going to fall forward. And again, it's because of the fact that the guard doesn't expect Grant to go over the top. And you generally don't, right? When you're this big. Just look at how big Grant is compared to the guard. And this guard's not a small guard either, right? He's an NFL prospect. But again, Grant just makes people look small, and it's part of what makes this guy have such huge upside. Now, one of the things that I think is important to also note with Grant is because of the fact that he played a lot of nose tackle, he didn't have the type of stats that I think some people expected out of him, or some people would potentially want. When you have a guy like Mason Graham playing next to you, when you have Josiah Stewart and some of these other guys as well on that defensive line, Grant's main responsibility was to play a lot of nose. And although I do think he'll play a lot of that same one technique nose tackle in the NFL, do note that could potentially limit the statistics that you might have over the course of a season. Now, again, a lot of these plays are basic plays that we're taking and kind of pulling out of his actual tape, right? So we're not looking at the snaps where he's playing nose. A lot of these plays that he's making come from when he's lined up over a guard. And again, it just makes it easier when you're lined up over a guard versus a center, because over a guard, you're harder to double team than if you're lined up, obviously, over a center, right? But again, a lot of really nice plays from Grant using the quickness, the arm over the top technique, but he also flashes a lot of power. Now I want to go ahead and show you guys some of the power that this guy also shows on tape, specifically against the run. Now before we get into that, I want to just share with you guys some of the cool things that Underdog Sports has going on. The Masters and NBA playoffs is right around the corner, and Underdog has multiple games that are live right now, with prize pools up to $500,000. Personally, I much rather prefer daily or weekly tournaments or picks, as opposed to the traditional long-term commitment that you have to make with some other games. Make sure you guys check out Underdog using the link down in the comments below and support this channel. Let's get right back into the content. One of the things you're going to see a lot with Kenneth Grant is really just how he's able to defeat double team blocks. He does a really good job controlling at the point of attack, and you see that on plays like this. Notice that Indiana here is going to run outside zone towards the right, and you're going to get a double team by the center and guard on Kenneth Grant. Now Indiana runs a lot of outside zone. So this play right here is something that Grant probably saw on tape during the course of this week. Do note that he has the A gap on this one in terms of his responsibility in the run fit. So the second these guys are going to step over here towards the right, he needs to lock in with the guard, right? He needs to make sure the guard is not able to pass him off to the center. The center essentially is going to try to get in front of Grant here, and Grant's going to do a really nice job just responding to this play. Again, processing, recognizing it, phenomenal job. Ends up locking in with the guard here. Make sure that when the center releases, he has full control of the guard. And within this play here, he's going to get right off the block, throws the guard off of him, gets right into the run fit, ends up helping make the play on this one. Just a really, really, really good job by Grant. Here's another one where Grant's going to show off that power. You're going to see him do a really nice job going up against the right guard. He can just push this guy back 2-3 yards. He's going to basically get into the backfield, and the running back has to change the angle and change the gap that he's trying to run this into. Now, the play still picks up 12 yards. The running back does a phenomenal job making one of the linebackers miss. But if you keep an eye on the play is designed to go to the right. It's going to be a pin pull to the right, so it's a power run to the right. And because of the fact that Grant basically pushes the right guard back, he's going to basically blow up this play, at least in terms of what the play was actually designed for. Now, if the linebacker actually makes the play when he should have, the play should have only picked up about a yard. But you'll see number 4 here is going to make number 15 miss. You see it right there, makes the linebacker essentially miss. Play goes from a 1-yard gain to a 12-yard gain. But again, one of the things you can pick away right away with this play is you got 2 guys that are going to pull to the right. You don't pull your offensive lineman unless the play is designed to go to that side. So with the guard as well as the center both pulling over here to the right, as well as the block here by the right guard on the defensive tackle, to me this tells me the play should have hit somewhere out here. But what's going to end up happening is Grant's going to get the hands right into number 77. He's going to push him back about 2 yards. He's going to stretch out, show off that power, hold the gap, and the running back has to hit this back to the left. There's a phenomenal job right there by Kenneth Grant. And again, one of the things we have to realize is it is not up to one guy to make every single play, right? But it is up to that one guy to do his responsibility and to do what he is tasked to do with any given play. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get into some of the pass rushing that Kenneth Grant has shown us on tape. We're going to just look over maybe like 4 or 5 plays from his pass rush. I do think as a pass rusher, he'll have to continue to develop, but it is very clear as a pass rusher, this guy's very strong. So oftentimes you're going to see 2 guys that'll have to block him. 2 guys will have to basically get their hands on this guy or else he's going to wreak havoc. And I think in the NFL, this is part of what he will have to develop. Very similar to guys like T'Vondre Sweat recently, and even a guy like Dexter Lawrence in the past. You know, these guys weren't elite pass rushers coming out, but they did have elite power and size and really good movement. And as they got into the NFL, they're able to just kind of fine-tune it a little bit, get better and better. And I think with T'Vondre Sweat, what we saw in the last 3 to 4 weeks from his rookie season was really, really impressive. And then, of course, with Dexter Lawrence, he's probably one of the top 2 or 3 defensive tackles in the NFL. I think Grant has some of that type of potential, but again, he will have to develop it, right? So as a pass rusher right now, he is mostly going to be a guy that's going to have the bull rush. He's going to try to fork guys' hands off of him, which is one of the things he does a lot. But generally speaking, he's going to go to power a lot. And I do think as a pass rusher, to be effective, you have to be able to use power, but if you're a power-based guy, you have to have that counter. And he has shown the counter move on tape a couple of different times. He does two things. One is he's going to try to swim over the top, as you'll see on this one here. He's going to lock in with 57. He's going to do the push-pull, which is going to be the counter that he has, right, to his bull rush. And it is going to allow him to get over the top of 57. So on this one here, 74 slides down, which is basically going to put Grant in a double team situation. The slide down, you do pull your guard as well to the defensive end. And Grant does beat 57, right? He's going to push him. He's going to pull him. Arm comes over the top. But again, as he beats 57, 74 is right there. He does do a pretty nice job utilizing the power. Kind of collapses the pocket. And he helps get the sack on this one. And I think on this one here, you're going to see that push-pull happen a little bit better. He is lined up at the nose tackle position on this one. He's going to do a really nice job. Power to speed. Right, he's going to push, pull, arm over the top. He's going to end up getting to the quarterback. Now, again, this is going to be one of the go-to moves for Kenneth Grant. And again, he'll have to add more moves, right? He's not a perfect prospect today in terms of pass rushing. I think right now, Kenneth Grant is an elite run defender. And I think teams have to pick their poison with these defensive tackles coming out this year. I think Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant are very similar players. I think Grant has the bigger body and he has the more upside in terms of the profile. But I think Mason Graham plays with a lot better leverage. And he has a ton of upside as well. But the thing is neither of these two guys are elite pass rushers. And I think if a team wants an elite pass rusher, you're going to have to potentially take a defensive tackle that might not be as great as a run defender. So again, you're going to have to pick your poison with these defensive tackles. But again, you see the play here by Kenneth Grant where he's going to push, pull, arm's going to come over the top. This is going to be the go-to pass rush move outside of the bull rush. Right, essentially, this is going to be that counter that he's going to utilize on tape. And again, I think development's one of those things that you're going to have to realize with Kenneth Grant and most of these defense tackles. They're not the perfect player. And, there's no Jalen Carter. There's no Kalijah Kancey. In my opinion, that just doesn't really exist in this draft. But there are guys with upside. And again, I think Kenneth Grant has a ton of upside. You got another really nice rep here by Grant. He's going to once again just kind of go over the top of the guard. He's going to generate pressure. Once again, it's going to be the move that we see him utilize a lot as a run defender, right? It's just the arm over the top, also referred to as a swim move. And again, the change of direction is really nice as well. He understands the situation. Center, right guard are stepping over to the left. Left guard pulls to the right. He knows he has a one-on-one with the right guard. Left hand's going to lock in on the backside of that guard. Right arm's going to come over the top. That's a phenomenal job right there by Kenneth Grant. And again, this type of upside to me is what NFL scouts really, really like with this guy and why this guy has a ton of upside and why some teams value him as the #1 defensive tackle in this class. Overall, really, really like what I see from a guy in Kenneth Grant. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys learned something new. And if you did, subscribe to this channel. We will obviously be covering Grant as he gets into the NFL. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time with another video.